Brewers didn't play on Thursday. Still a good day. They gain a half a game on the Cubs. We'll get to all your questions on the mailbag coming up next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Oh, great to join you talking about our first place Milwaukee Brewers with an 8-game lead on the Chicago Cubs after the Cubs showed again another lifeless day yesterday for them. They couldn't get out of their own way with runners in scoring position. That's their problem. Our problem, which is not a problem, is the Milwaukee Brewers. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman. Good to have you along. Longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin, proud host of Locked On Brewers. And coming up on the show today, we're going to get all your questions. Some of you guys, a lot of you guys sent me questions. Some of you guys just told me where you're calling from. I always say where you're calling from. Where you're listening to the podcast from. Wherever. I mean, I'm hearing a lot of responses. I love it. But we're going to get to all your questions on the Milwaukee Brewers. We'll talk a little bit about this upcoming series a little bit later on in the show. Briefly talk about how the Brewers are going into this a little short-handed. We'll get to that coming up next. All right, this episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. 5 Hour Energy. I'm a taker of 5 Hour Energy. I drink one every day. The cherry flavor gets me going. This episode brought to you by 5 Hour Energy Transfusion. Go to 5hourenergy.com. and use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF. You'll receive 20% off your order. Valid through September 30th. Order transfusion flavored 5 Hour Energy shots today. All right, we're going to get to your questions here on Twitter. Asked you guys on Thursday morning. Just message me on DMs. Any questions that you got. We'll take all your questions. I'm going to try to get as many of these in. Again, a lot of you guys told me where you're consuming the podcast from and all that. Man, I'm telling you, I just can't tell you enough. I know I say that time and time again, but man, I love getting up and hearing all the great places you guys from, whether it's Wisconsin or outside of the great state of Wisconsin. Yes, the great state of Wisconsin. I love it here. We don't like the weather sometimes. Today's great, but you know how that works. All right, let's get to your questions. We're going to start with Willie, first of all. Willie from Appleton says he's going to see Mate and Fisher play this weekend at the Timber Rattlers Stadium. Oh, man, what a beautiful place to watch the game. And those guys are playing well. Great to you're going to have a fun weekend, that's for sure. And they have a lot of great promotions as well. He says, is it worth putting Hoskins in the lineup when he is healthy, or should we just stick to Vaughn and other young bats? Nothing against Hoskins. I just don't see how he would be an upgrade in the lineup right now. Yeah, it's not like the Hoskins was doing anything before he got injured. And I don't see how you could take Vaughn out of the lineup. I really don't. I don't see, because he would play first base on a lot of teams right now in baseball. And the reason why the Brewers have got a couple of winning streaks like this, one of the major reasons, is because Vaughn is in the heart of the lineup producing. I mean, every game that guy produces, and not just home runs, base hits, you name it. The guy is the real deal. He is showing why he was a third pick in the draft by the White Sox. We're seeing all the talent. Thank God that the Brewers brought up Mizorowski, and that Savali didn't want to be here anymore, gave us a chance to get this guy, and Vaughn has been amazing. Yes. I mean, if the Brewers didn't have Vaughn, it would be a turnstile over their first base. Bowers has been hurt, but it would be a mess at first base. In most of the summer, we'd be talking about how could we, and maybe at the All-Star, not the All-Star break, the trading deadline, they would have had to fix the first base spot. But as a result, they haven't had to fix the first base spot because this guy was great. Now, I think what would happen if they when they brought him up in early July, if he would have been terrible, I think the Brewers would have got themselves a first baseman by the trading deadline. But he has been so good. No need whatsoever. And when there was talk about them getting the Orioles, the Orioles first baseman, I forget his name at the time. I was like, why would we want to replace our guy Vaughn? Long gone for Vaughn. All right. But Vaughn is here to stay. He's not long gone. All right. Thanks for the message, Willie. John's been listening to this podcast for the last 3 months. He caught on to it. He says, is it just me or is anybody else scared of Trevor McGill in the playoffs blowing a save opportunity? He has that Devin Williams knack for giving up runs lately, and it really worries me. Here's the one thing about a closer, and I've said this before. These guys aren't perfect. I mean, the closer's role is a tough role. You're going to give up runs from time to time. It's just going to happen. You're going to give up base runners. These guys aren't going to come in and blow everybody away. I think he's done a great job. I think McGill has done a great job out of the bullpen. And I feel like the closer, when he does give up a couple of runs, it's like, oh boy, and fans get upset if he gives up a home run. Even if he gives up a meaningless home run, fans get upset. Now, what Devin Williams is doing in New York, I mean, not only giving up runs, but he's giving up runs like every other day, it seems. I mean, he's just blowing saves. He's just been terrible. The Yankees got to be regretting that. But yeah, Williams is just having a bad year. But I think closers, you're going to get a blown save. You're going to give up base hits once in a while. It's just going to happen with these guys. It's just the way it is. But no, I'm not scared with McGill coming in. I feel good with him coming in. I felt good with Devin Williams coming in all those years. Although, there would be the Devin Williams experience where he'd walk a few guys and all that, but they always tended to get out of it. Although he did give up the home run to Alonso. And that's our memory of him, right? In the playoff game last year. Simple Man Dax says, hey, Chuck, no shade on anyone on the roster, especially Yelly, but could this be one of the winningest rosters without a bona fide, no doubt Hall of Famer? A bunch of scrappy and tenacious dudes going hard every single day. You bet, man. That's they don't have anybody in the ESPN top 50 or top 100. These guys just go out there and play. There might not be a Hall of Famer on this team. Yelly's not going into the Hall of Fame. That's for sure. I thought maybe at one point he was headed that way, several years ago. But yeah, I don't think you have to have your lineup all full of Hall of Famers. The Brewers just beat the Dodgers 6 straight times, and look at the Hall of Famers that the Dodgers have. It's all about heart, grit. You got to have talent, but the Brewers are playing a brand of baseball that is unmatched. And I'm sure there's going to be some copycats out there around the league, especially the small markets. Do you think the small markets like the Pittsburgh Pirates and some of these other small markets out there don't look at the Milwaukee Brewers and say, hey, how come we can't do that here? How are the Brewers doing that in small market Milwaukee, and yet we're not doing that here, right? We'll see. It's a copycat league in a lot of sports, a copycat league, and we'll see if people copy what the Milwaukee Brewers are doing. But, man, they got the blueprint right now, and you got to like it, man. Even before the season, they've got a terrific blueprint. All right, that was the Simple Man Dax. Let's get to T twice. Let's see what you got to say today. Messaging from Phoenix. I go out to Scottsdale once a year, right around Thanksgiving. Golfing a few courses out there. Get away, keep the golfing thing going. Growing up, I was a big Greg Vaughn fan, but a short-term Brewer I enjoyed watching was Kevin Reimer. I wish Kevin Reimer would have worked out here. That was in 1993, as you mentioned here or so. Who is your favorite all-time Milwaukee Brewer? Oh, who is your favorite long-lost Brewer player? Well, my favorite all-time Brewer is Paul Molitor, number 4. Favorite long-lost player? I think Cecil Cooper still is kind of unappreciated and even should have his jersey retired. Guy batted 300 for 10 years in a row. 1 year batted 352. He wasn't great dealing with the media. He didn't sign autographs as a fan, as I remember when I was a kid. I didn't like those two things about him. And he, as a member of the media, when he was here toward the end of his career, he didn't want to talk to the media and all. That's his prerogative. But I mean, he was blaming the media for stuff, I think. And I was one of those kids who was next to the dugout, Brewer dugout. I don't think you can still do that, but I did back then. And you could just lean over and get these guys to get autographs. They'd walk right by you. Coop pretended like he didn't know you or care about you, and he'd walk right by. And I'm sorry, Coop, this gets back to you, but that's just the way it was when I was a kid. I mean, you might be different now, but when I was a kid, Cecil Cooper did not want to sign autographs. Although I loved him as a player. I just loved him as a player. I thought he was great. All right, so that was my favorite play, and my favorite all-time players, obviously Paul Molitor, the great Paul Molitor, who I still think is the best player in franchise history. Some of you will say Robin Yount. I get it. So there we go, T twice. Zeke. See what Zeke's got to say. Zeke from Stevens Point. Told him how I always go to this place called the Hilltop at Stevens Point when my kid has hockey tournaments there, or in Plover. He's got baseball tournaments once in a while. Stop at this place, get a fish fry on a Friday night. Anyway, you said, Zeke, what do you think they're going to do with the outfield rotation once Churiel gets healthy? Perkins, Collins, and Frelick all making cases as everyday players. Yeah, Frelick and Collins are staying in there every day, although we're not having Collins this weekend. Not going to have Perkins this weekend, too. A little surprise note dropped this morning. He's on the bereavement list. No Perkins this weekend as well. Once Churiel is healthy, he's got to go in the lineup. He'll be back out there. They'll make it work. Frelick, Collins, Churiel. Perkins comes off the bench, right, as that fourth outfielder. Seems like those fourth outfielders always find a way to play, especially in the Sunday lineup games. But Perkins deserves to be a starter right now, the way he's playing. But Jackson Churiel's coming back. Jackson Churiel is one of the heart and souls of this offense. They're 12-0 without him now in this winning streak, but Jackson isn't coming off the bench, and he's replacing Perkins. So it goes Churiel, Collins, and Frelick out there in the outfield. Thanks, Zeke. Maybe we'll see you sometime next time I'm heading out to good old Stevens Point. All right, this is Chuck Freeman. Good to have you along here on Locked On Brewers. When we come back, we'll continue more of this. Also, we're going to talk a little bit about who's not going to be there this weekend and how that affects the Milwaukee Brewers in Cincinnati. Tough series coming up with the Reds. But you know what? Milwaukee Brewers do what they do. We're back next year on Locked On Brewers. Locked On Brewers 5-Hour Energy. I mentioned at the top here, 5-Hour Energy. Just a great sponsor here. Time to fuel up. Turn it up with 5-Hour Energy. As I said, I take one every day. 5-Hour Energy Transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, lime flavor of your favorite drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or making memories with friends, this is a hole-in-one for your energy game. Man, it just reinvigorates you, especially in the afternoon. You know, sometimes in the afternoon, man, after lunch or whatever, man, you start getting tired and all that. 5-Hour Energy Transfusion will transfuse your day into a good one. And if you go to 5hourenergy.com today, that's the number 5hourenergy.com. You can use my promo code Locked On Golf to receive $20 off your order. So go to 5hourenergy.com, promo code Locked On Golf, 20% off your order. Now, this order is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good with subscription orders. By the way, everybody, my podcast, you get it on Google, Spotify, Apple, all the major downloads out there on the podcast, wherever you download audio podcasts. We're the number one Brewers podcast because of you Brewer fans out there, you guys out there. Some of you guys just started joining us here in the last several weeks. Thank you, thank you, thank you. The bandwagon is always open. Former Brewers fans, as I always say, 55 years, no championships. Brewers haven't done anything that we don't deserve to be on and off that bandwagon. Some of you guys are on that bandwagon. A lot of you guys are everydayers. Every day listen to this podcast on Locked On Brewers. I appreciate you. And please go to if you're already downloading us on the audio platform, go to our growing YouTube page, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. It'll alert you every time we drop an episode. You'll come into our beautiful Locked On Brewers studios. And you'll see me with the pink glasses today so I can read. All right. Let's get some more of your questions here. Grant from Milwaukee, an everydayer, he says, who are some of the unsung heroes in that coaching room? Hitting coach, pitching, I think they all are. Haven't heard any early in the season. You didn't hear much about, praise toward that hitting staff, but Buff, kind of an unknown, has come up here, and he's kind of been a genius. The players will praise these guys, the hitting coaches, for their scouting reports. The coaching staff puts such elaborate scouting reports, offensive supports against pitchers, that it helps a great deal. This hitting coach room is just fantastic. And Chris Hook, the pitching coach, obviously, we've had some pretty good pitching coaches over the years, right? And this guy is one of them. When you're a pitching coach and you got 4 Hall of Famers on the roster, that's one thing. But when you're a pitching coach and you're turning guys who are struggling in other places, or young guys like Priester, into absolute winners, that says a lot about you as a pitching coach. They have a great one with Chris Hook. Just great one, because, he's doing something in there. And their game plans, and this is what the Brewers have to do to make up for the fact that they don't have, 4 Hall of Famers on the roster. They have to have great game plans. They have to have great scouting. They have it all. And they execute it well. The Brewers go in with a game plan. These guys are so schooled as far as the opponent, so ready for the opponent, so ready to play baseball every day. Nothing gets by these guys. Rarely. Of course, something always is going to, but I'm telling you, this is a very prepared team. Very prepared team. Like I said, even with Pat Murphy, how has that guy not been a manager 25 years ago? And maybe, it took this long because he learned a lot all these years being around the MLB game. He's been there for 10 years. But, man, that guy is just fantastic. Wow. Coached at college, 2 places. I've always said this about coaches and managers. I don't think they're a huge difference maker. In this case, I think Murphy is. I think you can go out and hire yourself a Terry Francona, but if you don't have the team, sometimes doesn't matter. But I think that Murphy is indeed in that small category of being a difference maker with his team. All right, TJ, what do you got to say, TJ? What do you think? What do you do with the rotation in the playoffs? You got a lot of options. Freddy, Woody, and Priester pulling Miz and Quintana out of the bullpen. Got a lot of options. I think Freddy and Woody are 1-2 in that rotation, right? I think they're starting game 1 and game 2 of the NLDS, right? I assume, we can't always assume, but it'd be a great disappointment if the Brewers made it in as a wild card. So I'm already thinking second round. You got an 8-game lead. You better not be blowing this. An 8-game lead. You got Freddy, Woody, and I would say Miz as that third one. You could pitch Quintana, I think, is going to be headed for the bullpen, and maybe Priester for that 4th man out of the rotation. A lot of options. DL Hall, you could use an opener there. There's so many different ways you can do. But I think for sure, Freddie will start game 1, and Woodruff will start game 2. I've been asked about, should Woodruff start game 1? I think a lot of us would feel more comfortable with Woodruff starting game 1 for whatever reason. But let's not discount Freddie. Murphy talked about this the other day. This is the best we've ever seen of Freddie. This is the best Freddy Peralta we've ever seen. He's in shape. He talked about, not that he wasn't on any before, but he's in great shape. Everything. Guy's got 14 wins. Freddie is headed for 20 wins. We never talk about 20-game winners anymore in baseball, but technically Freddie at 14, he could get 6 more somewhere down the line here. But I think Freddie starts game 1. Woodruff will start game 2. Thank you, TJ. Calling from Greenwood. I know where Greenwood is. When I went to UW Eau Claire, there was a kid on my floor, Perry Linder. I heard he always told me Linder was a popular name in Neilsville, Greenwood, the Twin Cities. And he was from Greenwood. I had never heard of Greenwood until I ran into Perry. All right. Thanks, TJ from Greenwood. All right. What else we got here? Kyle. Let's get to Kyle. Kyle, Chuck, my question for you. Considering all the starters the Brewers have back, with a Miz back, who would be your starting? Oh, I answered this one already. Thanks for your podcast every morning. Thanks, Kyle. I answered this one already. Ready at the top, Woodruff, and I think Miz I'd start in game 3, although I Could see them starting DL Hall and then coming back with Miz in a couple of innings after that. We will see. Let's take one more here. Kevin says, I have to wonder that if the Brewers fail to make a deep playoff run, either into the NLCS or World Series, if the national media will discount the regular season as a fluke. I don't think you trip into 32 games over the 500 mark. You get to the postseason in baseball. Unlike the NFL, where you kind of can figure who's going to win, right? I mean, you kind of look at teams. It's tough. The Packers have done it. They come up from the 6th seed. But in baseball, I really believe any seed has a shot. Any seed has a shot in the postseason. I really do. Look at the Mets, how far they advanced last year. Look at the, Arizona, especially 2 years ago, coming to Milwaukee and then continuing that run. So it doesn't matter. The regular season is not a fluke. But we will say as Brewers fans, again, how could we not get past the first round if that happens? I don't even want to think that way, because I think this team is so good that, yes, it would be just utter disappointment again, maybe the most in Brewers history, if they don't at least go to the NLCS, right? Again, point to the example of 2001 Seattle Mariners. They didn't. And a few other great teams along the way, great regular season records, and couldn't finish it off. But let's not even think that way. Right back after this timeout, we'll look at this Red Series and who's missing. Coming up next here on Locked On Brewers. Monarch Money, another terrific sponsor here of Locked On Brewers. You're going to find out where you're spending all your money. Most people can't name all their financial accounts, even ones that they just look at every day. 401ks, properties, investments. You can manage all this on Monarch Money. Monarch Money is an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop, or you get on your phone. Monarch Money does the easy lifting for you, or the heavy lifting for you, makes it easy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, clear data, visuals, all that right there. Easy for you to see where you're spending all your money, where your money is going, and you're going to finally feel in control of all your money and where your paycheck's going each week. Just by looking at the screen, they're going to do all the math for you. So right now, use Locked On MLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser, 50% off your first year. So you're saving there as well. Give it a try. Tells us where we spend our money, usually going out to eat. monarchmoney.com, promo code Locked On MLB, 50% off your first year with Monarch Money. All right. Thanks for all your questions. We'll do a few more of those a little bit later on here on an off day with the Milwaukee Brewers. As of mid-morning on Friday, the Brewers have not named their starter. There's speculation that Miz might pitch a couple of innings. Would they use DL Hall as an opener? Who knows? But we do not know as of right now who the Brewers are pitching on Friday night. A little odd, but that's fine. Let's see here. Perkins, as I mentioned, went on the bereavement list. Sorry to hear that for Blake. He will not be there this weekend. Collins, the paternity list with his wife in Denver. He will not be there. So those are two important pieces. Lockridge is going to be playing some center field this weekend, you got to believe. The Reds, two impressive wins over the Phillies in their last two games. They're 64-58. They're right there in the wild card hunt. The Reds are a game and a half out. Brewers enjoy an 8-game lead on the Cubs. An 8-game lead on the Cubs. And of course, the Brewers are just on an amazing run here. One other question. Charlie messaged me on Facebook. Wanted to know if Kiro was going to be called up once the Brewers expand their rosters. We'll see. Remember, you don't expand to 40 anymore. You expand to 28. They don't have the 40-man roster. It's a 20-man. You have a 40-man roster, but you can't bring all those guys and have them in a crowded dugout. You're only allowed 28 now. So we'll see. I don't know. I think depending on what they need at the time, I have to believe the Brewers will be going pitching when they're allowed to expand their rosters on September 1st. Nick Martinez on the mound. Nick Martinez on the mound as the Brewers go for their 13th straight victory, which would tie a franchise record back in 1987 when they started the season 13-0. And we're 20-0 at one point, or 20-3 at one point. And then they were back down to 500. And even a game below 500, but they ended up with like 91 wins that year. But anyway, or 92 maybe. Thanks for listening, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for all your questions. Have yourself a great weekend. As always, you have anything you want to DM me, you want to ask me about, hit me up on Twitter, Chuck Freeman, Freimund. Hit me up on Facebook, Chuck Freeman. I will always get back to you. Maybe not that right that second, but I will always, always, always get back to you. That's my word to you. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day.